Hi, everybody. My name is Itay, and I'm from Application Now. In this channel, I help people that are interested in landing a tech job. And together with me today is Dayo. Do I say the name correctly?
Dayo.
Dayo. Dayo. And maybe you can tell us a bit about yourself and what brings you today.
Yeah, so I graduated from Northwestern University about a month ago with a degree in computer science, and I've been applying to jobs during that period, and I haven't received a single interview offer or a phone screening from just cold applications, and even from referrals, I haven't had any progress with those either. So I believe something is wrong with my resume, and that's why I'm here today to get it reviewed.
Sure. And that could be the case. I haven't looked into your resume. So you are graduating from computer science, the bachelor degree, fine university. So over that side, it looks fine. How many positions have you applied to so far?
Over 70.
Over 70. Okay. And do you have any work experience?
Not in the tech industry, no. I worked while I was at university, but I don't have any internships. I didn't do any like research. The only thing that I did was a peer mentorship program with a course, introduction level course. But other than that, no tech experience.
Okay, one of the challenges right off the bat, I can tell you that having no experience in this market is very problematic. Now, I would look into your resume, but let me explain why an experience is important and how one gains an experience. So experience is important because first, it positions you as today's junior role, which today junior's role actually means 1 year of work experience. That is the market expectation. For example, today it's not just software engineer, it's a backend engineer. Now, how could you be a backend engineer if you never worked in, or iOS engineer or something like that? So the first thing is that some experience is needed. The second is that by having experience, you're actually demonstrating a commitment to a niche. So what does that mean? Let's say that you're applying to an iOS developer, okay? What could tell me in your resume that you are an iOS developer? If you don't have experience, it's hard. Maybe some coursework, but experience kind of naturally shows that commitment to that field. Now, how one can get experience? I'm a professor at Cal State Fullerton. I can talk about my students. My students usually gain experience by having mainly two things. One is internships, second is projects. There's also those that take a university project. I teach mostly graduate students, so they also might take like an independent study type of thing, where they focus on an area. So this is just listening to your story. This is kind of one thing that immediately kind of jumps up. There might be other things as well, but this is maybe something to be aware of. And just something about projects. Project in many cases is not that difficult because it's just project. I mean, you could do a project now. And internships is also actually very easy because formal internships are hard, but informal internship or smaller company internships are pretty easy. In the end, it's just somebody who just say, you know what, sure, let's do it. And if there is a struggle, you can also do it unpaid under certain constraints. Okay, so with that, you're saying the resume. Now, the 70 companies that you applied, are those high competition, low competition? Have you applied to niche? Which companies have like those 70? Is those like just FANG or something else?
Yeah, well, it's a variety. I've applied to large companies, small companies, startups. I've applied everywhere. All entry-level positions where it doesn't really require that much experience, but I still receive nothing back. So
Okay. If you receive nothing back, there might be some other issues as well that automatically filters before it goes to people. When you apply to all those companies, you apply directly, or you apply to some of them by sending an email to, let's say if it's a startup, did you send an email to the CEO, the VP, or somebody on LinkedIn, or just for the site?
Always through the job application portal. So whether it's Workday or I don't know, like there's a whole lot of job application sites, but I just go to the company website and use whatever they use to apply.
Sure, that makes sense. And another question, when you apply to those companies, do you usually apply with the position open, or you apply maybe a week or two after? Do you apply in the first 48 hours or
I used to do
36?
more recently. I've been doing it within like 24 hours, where if the job is either posted or reposted within the last 24 hours, like I go to LinkedIn, filter for last 24 hours, and I only apply to jobs that way.
Okay, I'm automatically scanning for those issues just because I know those are an issue. A position that's open for a week usually would have thousands of applicants at this market. Makes it difficult. So what it means is that if a company is maybe interested in junior people, then if they open it, that would fill very quickly. So they could just take the first 100 or something like that and value it. So I think for less differentiation, if you can apply faster, that would be good. Another question that I have is about location. Where are you located?
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. Do you apply to Portland, Oregon, or do you apply to places in other locations?
Well, I've just been applying everywhere. So I have applied to places in Portland, Oregon too. I haven't heard back from those ones because I've been doing that more recently.
Okay. One thing I would say as well is that when you apply to a location that's outside of where you currently are, even as a student, might be an assumption. Maybe some relocation is needed, maybe some other thing. Maybe it's much easier for them to just filter by local people. That could easily be a cut. So what it means is, imagine a company that's located in, let's say, Austin, Texas. Maybe if they can filter by many criteria to just, you know what, we'll just take people that are in Austin, Texas. Maybe it's just easier for us. Lower risk. We don't need to fly them in for interviews. We don't need to relocate them, just easier. So this is another thing to keep in mind as you're applying and you're thinking about the statistics. There are ways to approach that. But before that, let's look at your resume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can share the screen.
No, can you see that?
I can see that. Okay, so you start with education, which kind of makes sense. Graduation. So you already graduated.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is fine. I would have maybe changed it a bit, but I think it makes perfect sense. Relevant coursework, data structure. Okay, one thing immediately here that I see is a couple of things. The first is unclear what you're looking for. Are you looking for iOS development? Are you looking for soft backend, DevOps? It's very unclear. You don't have any experience that will position you as what you're looking for. So I think in that case, I would put a summary or something that will say, what are you even looking for? Because when I see this, today, there are companies that will apply without customization to thousands of places. This could just be spam. How do I know it's not spam? Something needs to indicate me that you actually related somehow to this role. Because there's a lot of students that would just go to like places that automatically apply people. If you go to a place that automatically apply and you do not customize, it looks like spam. They see hundreds of resumes just like that. So I would say, put something in the summary that shows that this is not random. So for example, if you apply to a company that does Android development, write something about Android development and something that you care about and then have done something. Okay?
Okay.
The second thing that might be problematic, this might be a problem maybe for ATS. You have technical skills and projects. So what it means is that your technical skills and project are kind of mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you do technical skills and then you do project. Don't mix in things that are unrelated in your resume.
Okay.
Right? Those are separate sections, and they should be separate so they could be parsed correctly. Okay, so that's another thing that I would say. Language C++, C Sharp, JavaScript, Python, Java, Rust, Unity, GitHub, Git. Okay, are you a front-end development or what? Because it's very confusing. Like, here's the thing about languages. There is no way that you're an expert with just graduating at C++, C Sharp, Python, Rust, and Java. Those are separate languages. So one of the things that I see here immediately is like, when I read this, I assume that if you listed those 5, then it's kind of almost meaningless. Because I don't see what you specialize in. Okay, and I would assume that, with 2 projects and just graduating, there's no way you've done serious work on those 5. So it's unclear for me what you actually know. Now, how do you do it? Because some jobs require C Sharp, some Python, some Java. Maybe you have projects in all of those. That is the point where I think you need to customize a bit, personalize. If you think that, let's say, in the type of jobs that you apply, Python is much better, just list Python, maybe one more, but not like so many. Unity, GitHub, okay, React, HTML, SQL, Slion. One thing is like, it's the L in SQL is language. So that's another thing I would say I might have fixed it a bit, but I think in general, again, going back to it's unclear what you're kind of good at. Let's go to the math snake game. Math snake game, C++, which can programming, model design, let's do the actions, adventure game, okay. Reading those 2 things, it does not look like the projects have a lot of depth, okay, by scanning them. Now, remember, projects should have depth. Now, why is that? It's because you pick them. You can pick any project you want. You can do anything, right? You can pick a project of ML optimization. You can do anything, right? It's free. It's like, you can do whatever you want. So the project that you listed do not look very depth, like a snake game. It's usually something that you would give. I've done once a snake game. I think it's something more kind of more like practice or like like a school project. I think maybe a project that is a bit more depth, especially at the area that you want to go after, would be better. It will demonstrate your experience and your ability. Because remember, today junior is actually 1 year of work. So I would say, in project is nothing prevents you from later today to just do a project. Let's go down. Northwestern University. Collaborative resident of faculty plan to inclusive events and recognition held in the meeting. So under Northwestern University, you have experience. Experience usually would mean something relevant. Okay, like work experience is relevant. And something that is maybe full-time, maybe paid. That's what we usually put under experience, okay? The challenge with the resident assistant, which is fine. I mean, you can, first thing, if I would list it, that's probably something you've done at the university. So it's more like something you've done as part of your education, like as part of like your maybe academia. And the challenge is that this is kind of the first thing listed in the experience, and it's not related, right? Now, looking at the second thing, again, this is better. I like mentoring, and I like, computer science, and that's good. I would put that, this is kind of a research assistant or stuff like that. I would actually put that under your education. So what you show is that your education, go up to the education. what you show that your education is more than the minimum that you should have done, right? Because when somebody goes to school, you don't know, like, do they actually care about computer science, or they just, I don't know, just listed and then they graduated? Because most people graduate. I think the fact that you show like passionate for like programming and helping people on the peer mentoring, that's actually a good thing. And I would list that as part of the university. This is something that you've done, and I think it's pretty good. Looking at your resume, here's the thing. You have the big stuff. The big stuff is a computer science degree. That's the big stuff. You're missing two things here. First is, I think that your experience, like your projects, should have more depth, and also indicate, and also be in the summary about what you actually want to go after. I think that will help people to understand, because computer science is so wide, they don't know. Know. Now let's talk about projects and internships. I would recommend to you, apply, see if you can get it. Maybe you can do without it, but I would say, meanwhile, I would try and get an internship. I will try to get an internship. I will try and get work experience. If that's not possible, I will do a project. Okay. An internship is fine. You wanted to get more experience at a certain field. Okay. The company at that point not look for a full-time. That's okay. You would get an internship, and now you're looking for a full-time. Nothing bad. It's a reasonable story. Project, that's another thing. Project, you just speak. Remember that the project doesn't mean like a year of work. Projects usually last a month or two, 3, maybe, something like that. So very easily, I would say, in a month or 2, 3, good project, you would put them there. Now, something to remember is this. Anything in your resume is a fair game. If you're going to put project, there is a high likelihood you're going to get asked on that project. So be ready to go into depth, into whatever you've done. And do the project, of course, in the area that you actually want to get hired. So I think that's what I see. I see, if I would see the resume, I would have two things, right? First, it doesn't have depth of technical experience beside the education. And I think the second is, it's unclear if it was like just sent to me as part of like some automatic thing, or do you actually want it? So I think that those are the two things that I see.
And then in terms of, obviously, like, try to secure the internship, but like in terms of actual work experience, should I just like work for free pretty much? Because like that's what I've been trying to do with just like applying to literally any kind of entry level position, but kind of like, I don't know, decent pay. Like, to sometimes they offer like 30K, and I'm just like, 30K is like extremely low for like what I want.
Sure. So let's talk about this. That's good. We can go a bit over. There are a couple of ways to gain experience. One way to get experience is a contract work. You can get contract work. Okay. Contract work is, I will do this site integration, whatever. Pay me when I'm done. If you have less experience, maybe you can still do it, especially today with programming tools, but it will just take you much longer. So you might not even make minimum wage, but that's okay. It's a contractor. So it's like, your first project of, I don't know, website, you've never done a website on whatever. Yeah, I mean, it takes time, but that's okay. So I think that that's one thing, taking a project. How do you take a project? You find somebody that needs a project and you offer them a project. I think that's the easiest. From people that you know, you can also go to online marketplaces. Online marketplaces, however, today are quite competitive, and without experience, people might, not be sure. But still an option. The second is an internship. An internship is not a full-time job. It does not come from a full-time job budget. An internship comes from OPEX, so for most places. So what does it mean? It means I'm a hiring manager. I can do two things. I can get an intern, I can get a full-time. What is a full-time? And full-time is an HR approval. An intern is not an HR approval. An intern is usually, it's usually like that. It's like from some money that I have, and I'm just spending it. Think of this as like marketing expense or buying ads. It's kind of the same thing. So there is a lot of flexibility. Now, going back to paid versus the unpaid. Now, if you go to a significant company, it should be paid. If you go to a startup that just started and it has great people and they offer you good experience, okay? And that's something, there's a couple of rules about what they paid and unpaid, but many people have done unpaid. It's not supposed to be long-term. It's supposed to be maybe 2 months, 3 months, 2 months, something along those lines. Think about like summer internship. You get that experience, and using that experience, first, you have experience now, maybe not a year, but you have something. And the second is that you can show that you're actually interested in a certain field. So if you're interested in DevOps, that's one. If you're interested in, I don't know, iOS development, that's another one. So it shows your commitment. So when you say 30K annually, there is no annually, because an internship is not annually. An internship is a short time, 2 months, for you to learn something that is related to your academic course and will help you find a job. That it's not a job; it's experience to get a job. And there's a bunch of other rules that you can probably check online.
Okay. And then in terms of like the technical detail, I'm just like, I guess like I'm just trying to like come to the grips with the reality of like, yeah, I went to like a great school in Northwestern University, but like I kind of feel like I'm not really competitive anyway. Because even though like I've done projects and like these are 2 projects that I put on here.
Sure.
I've done
You can do other projects.
Yeah, I've done a lot of projects, and I feel like even still, like I don't feel, and based on the way you're describing it, and based on the evidence of me applying to a whole lot of jobs and not getting any kind of positive response, that like it almost feels like I went to school for nothing in a way, if that makes sense.
No, I don't think that's a good way to look into that. Here's the thing, okay? There are 2 things. First is, are you even a candidate? Second is, are you a compelling candidate? Those are 2 separate parts. Let's assume you had no education. Okay? Nothing. And then you've done 3 months of a project. Would that get you a job at this market? The answer is probably no. Now, if you went to a bachelor at this market, you still need that experience. So it's not that somebody can be it's not that somebody cannot be successful without having a position. Like if somebody would tell me, hey, what should I rather do, like 3 years as a software engineer at Google, or 4 years software engineer at Google, or 4 years at a bachelor? I'll do 4 years software engineer. But the problem is, can you get it to begin with? So I think that you're missing depth on the area that you want to go into. Computer science degree is just the foundation, but you still need to have experience doing something. It's kind of like like an MBA. I went to MIT, to business school,
Mm-hmm.
and just graduating from MBA, that's not the thing that's going to give you the job. Like, it's not like, oh, you graduated from an MBA at MIT, oh, you can go anywhere. That's not true. If you, in many cases, when you go to an industry, they still want you to have some experience in that industry, especially when the market is bad. So I think that you have strong foundation. I think, again, you can continue applying. I would say take that, fix a bit your resume, but take that few, maybe a month or 2 or 3, and get like a project portfolio that is not only more impressive, but more focused on what you actually want to do. Like, say, think about this. Let's say that I'm now hiring and I read Math Snake Game and I'm hiring for, what do you want to do? Like, what's the ideal job for you?
Well, I want to get into game development.
Sure. I'm a game development. Okay. Let's say I'm hiring for Blizzard. Okay. And I see Math Snake Game. Okay. That's nice. But it doesn't have that depth of experience, maybe, or visualization, or um, uh, level that I'm looking for. I think that is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I would do like deeper, like more of that. Like in specifically, okay, when you say independently build an arithmetic-based snake game in C++, object-oriented programming, and modular design, result in maintainable, implement an algorithm generating the correct answer, game educational, optimize the vision question. What was difficult about this? You see what the issue is? Like, what was difficult about this? Let's say I would have just put that in ChatGPT and say, develop me a snake game, and it gives me code. Like, or Cursor. What is difficult about that? It's kind of unclear. And that's like the first thing experience that you have.
Okay.
You see the challenge?
Yeah.
Now, game development is super easy to get experience in. Super easy. There's like so many studios and development houses, and you can do your own game. It's super easy to get experience. So why not?
Right.
Like, if you will tell me, let's say you wanted to be a program manager, that's tough. How would you get experience? You can just open your computer and become a program manager. That's tough. That's why people do certifications. But if you're telling me I want to be a developer for games, I mean, you can write the game today, like something more challenging, more advanced, more, I don't know, but think of something. Or join or get an internship at the game. A lot of those games, they're like, it's like, I don't know, 1.5 person or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just contact something you like and say, hey, can I do something? There is open source stuff. There's so much stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah.
Was that helpful?
Yeah, I mean, it was helpful. Like I just got to get more experience, and if that means having to work for free, it's just about getting more in depth with things. Because right now, like,
More
yeah, I
depth.
went to school and I have a good foundation with, like the basics of like computer programming, but it's all about like getting depth in the area that I want to go. And although, like, yeah, I've made games, there's still a lot more depth I could, like, there's still a lot more experience that I could gain in those areas to make me a more compelling candidate.
And there are so many opportunities. There is like so easy to find something to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Cool.
makes sense.
Well, thank you very much. And hope also the people that are watching has learned something new. And yeah, if you have any follow-up question, let me know. Okay.
Thank you.